Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Ball podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark, and we're back. The news hour for the final time in July 2026. This year has flown by. We're getting closer and closer to when all the games are coming out. So I am getting excited. Playing a couple to sort of bridge the gap and trying to not have so many, sports games. Just trying to play actual games as well on top of that. We'll talk about one of them today, and then basically we'll have a big talk about a couple of games I did stream this week. So hopefully everybody's been doing good out there. Hopefully you're getting through this July and now getting into the dog days of August, as they say. So, we're getting closer and closer to, that all those games. And GTA 6 and possibly Ocarina, whenever that's coming. Yeah. Well, why don't I start off with what I've been playing? We'll start off with one of the first, I guess, yeah, we'll save the second game I streamed for the last thing I talk about today. But I want to start out with the game I streamed on Monday, which was my backlog buster, Hatful Boyfriend, for the personal computer. For those of you who don't know, Hatful Boyfriend, you are a young lady inside the school known as Saint Pigeonation. You are the only human in a school of pigeons, or birds, essentially. And it is basically a dating simulator, where the pigeons are the suitors, and they all have crazy personalities. We got to a point where I think we had flirted with just about every boy, and I think we were sort of between the track boy and our best friend in the game. Didn't get much deep into story. It moves a lot quicker than, say, a Persona or something like that, even though it does have days of the week and you go to class and you have things, but we didn't. We had one thing, like strange event occur right at the end, before we closed out. So maybe we'll continue with that. I have seen a bunch of it past there. I remember it in pieces. I don't remember the full story. I was still I remembered all the initial pigeons that we met. I remembered most of those. The one we meet at the end, I did not remember, but I remember there's some sort of side story with them as well. But either way, it's an interesting game, interesting concept. You can swap out the bird photos for their anime alternates if you don't want to just, look at pigeons. I don't know. It's more fun if it's just pigeons because it's more absurd. So that should be up. I'm probably going to put it up for Tuesday on YouTube. I'll have it upload alongside this here, so you can see it for yourself there. But yeah, that game's pretty cool. I've been playing, obviously, some more NCAA 27. The game is really good, like the actual physical game. I'm getting to learn some of the nuances with, the recruiting with NIL and all that stuff. And it's starting to get a little good. Like, I'm figuring out I'm getting better recruits, in my second year at Eastern Michigan because I'm figuring out the process. Just typical stuff like that, like I said, only through season 2. Haven't changed schools yet. Haven't gotten to where I need to manage a big budget or anything, or with pressure, really. The AD goals aren't that hard. I already got 2 of them. One was to score 20 points, and the other one was to win a road game. I did both of those very easily in the opening first couple games. But yeah, the real challenge is going to be how it goes, and if it captures my attention as much as 25 and 26 did. I had a slow start to those 2 games too. I think once college football started up, is when, late August, is when I went full steam ahead in the game. So I'm trying to play games here and there throughout it. just to kind of get my feet wet and all that. Yeah, and I'm going to start adding some mods. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, well, good luck there, Night Duck. Hopefully it's not too bad. So we wish you the best of luck. He's having, if you can see in the chat for the audio listeners, let you know he's having some issues from the county health department for some reason. So we're wishing Night Duck the best of luck there. But moving on to our next game, we have, yeah, I'll go with, I didn't play much more Black Flag this week. I had I went to a concert last night and, you know, a bunch of other things during the week that did not give me time to really sit down and play a bunch of those. Yeah, so, yeah, the game I did play a good bit of today, I played through a little bit more of Mina, the Howler. I'm enjoying the game. The main issue I have a problem with is that it had the Dark Souls element of it. Like, I'm enjoying the fighting and the weapons and all that stuff is great. The collecting the bones for currency, you know, having that be the way to level up. You know, all that stuff, all that like Zelda 2 stuff. You know, that's in there. But then they made it a Souls-like in the sense that when you die, your souls stay behind and you got to go get them. It's only frustrating for me because I'm a really good gamer, but as it starts getting more and more difficult, and then you start losing those souls and then got to build them all back up to level up, you have a way to sort of store souls, like bank them. But it goes up every time you do it. You can only, it's really weird. But, you know, that's the thing that really keeps me from finishing, like, Elden Ring, Dark Souls 2, you know, all those games that I played. It's just, as it gets tougher and tougher, I just lose too many souls, and it just becomes draining to have to recoup all of that stuff if I lose them. I don't mind the concept of your souls staying near where you die, but it's just the concept. Hopefully this isn't too bad. Yeah, the gameplay itself is great enough that it'll keep me going forward from here. So, but I'll keep you up to date how long. It's definitely going to be a really, if the game doesn't fall off a cliff or become way too difficult, it'll definitely be up there for my game of the year. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm loving the Link to the Past, you know, or sort of Zelda aspects to it. But there are some little things that I wish were different. And, you know, we'll see. Maybe playing it more on a consistent basis, I will get used to that stuff. But really losing the souls thing, I forgot how lack of a better term, soul-crushing that is. So, yeah. Yeah, we're going to get through that. But the thing I played, hours-wise, the absolute most this weekend was, I don't know if any of you were there for any part of it. I think Metal Militia was there at the beginning. But on Friday, I decided to finish Trails in the Sky second chapter. I thought I was looking pretty good to be finishing it in like 4 to 5 hours. Like, we're on a good run. And then the final boss, with cutscenes, with the 3 forms that it has, took me 3 hours. Like, a legitimate 3 hours. Without dying, without, you know, needing to do the fight again. I literally, it has, I can show you the saves, you know, next time maybe we load something up, but I have one save at the point of no return, which when you enter this door, you have a hallway with like 3 things that I guess you can grind if you need to on those to gain levels if need it, but I was already level 90 across the board, so we were pretty good, but, you know, I could not imagine going in here less than we were. I used a lot of my items, almost all of my items, to get through this. But yeah, from the point of no return save, right outside the door, right outside the boss door, it said 12:07 a.m. And I was like, all right, that was about at the 2:45 mark of playing the game. And then the next save, after all the final boss stuff and cutscenes, when you get control of the character again, for the escape sequence. These games all have escape sequences. The save was at 2:49 a.m. So almost 3 hours for just the final battle. I wish I was kidding. I probably could have beat it faster. I probably could have beat the second to last form faster. Or one of them, because I finally, at the beginning of the fight, that was the final form. Final form had 99,999 hit points, like almost 100,000 hit points. Or whatever, maybe it almost had 1,000,000 hit points. I forget which it was. Probably the Odyssey. Because I was in I didn't even realize how long. So that reason I mentioned that was because Night Duck in the chat mentions which was better, that battle or the Odyssey, because they were basically about the same length, I think. But yeah, there was a point in the final form where in the beginning, like, I didn't clock it until like halfway through the fight, when to hit them with what. So at the beginning, every so often it would be one element would be 2 times, like the first phase of the final form would be like 2 times damage if you pick the right one, and it would switch. And once you got it to a certain health, it would not do that. And then at that point, it became vulnerable to more physical attacks. And I did not realize that at first, and I just kept hitting it with arts along with magic. But the arts wasn't doing it, and then one time I just walked up and whacked them with Joshua's sword, and it took almost 2,500 points off, and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be hitting this with melee right now during this form. And I was getting a lot of zeros, not knowing what, it was if I would have went in with the knowledge of that fight going in, I would have beat it much faster. But, beating it the way I did, and on first try, was great. Took a long time. I didn't even realize how long I was sitting there doing it, because I'm just in the zone. Just make sure, okay, heal, wall, do this, you hit, you heal, you run over here, you right, and then didn't realize how long I was actually doing it. That fight was more tedious and long. The look of the fights were great. But like, it just became tedious because unless if I fucked up, and did something wrong, which I almost did once or twice in that fight, I literally was leveled up enough that I would not die. I got to the point where in the final section, phase of the final form, it starts vanishing your characters, and I didn't realize that, and I lost one of my characters right near the end. I was like, oh shit, why'd that happen? I was like, oh, there's like a circle thing, I just gotta move them, because they already have the earth wall up, so they're not gonna get hurt by anything that hits them. I just got overconfident that earth wall would block anything, but apparently it did not block this vanishing spell. So I was gone, but I was able to win before any like Hail Mary thing at the end killed everything. The second to last fight was my favorite fight. That was with Laufey. Had great storyline to it, and for the ending, that was a fight where I was literally. It's the thing where I was like, I know this isn't the last fight, and you want to so badly not use items because you're going to need them for the next fight. And I just I was like, fuck it. I went and I was doing full heals, items, full raise heal, and just going around and finally just got back in control, took out a couple of the ads, and then was just sort of, you could see it when it, if you want to watch the VOD of it, it might be a little stuttery, but I basically went from I should have been dead to being able to, thank God for movement speed on a couple of them, and then I split them up like 2 and 2 across the map. So the bad guys, because they had this one enemy that did like a ram, and if you had everybody really close, it could get everybody in one hit. So by spreading them out, on opposite ends of the map, and then for some reason I got lucky, and each one of those, there was 2 of those people, and they each went to a different group instead of 2 coming to one group. So I got a little lucky there, but I did it, and then almost had a thing at the end where the final guy just killed us, but we survived, and I was able to, survive and then get through the final fight. But that game was real good. I am definitely going to buy the remake or remaster or whatever thing that's coming out in September and play through it again on my own time. In that way, I really love the story of this one. I love how it ends. I like the reveal of certain things, of certain characters, and they know how to land the plane, as this thing says at the end of their games, at least for the first 2. I can't wait to play the third one, but we are playing Neo Fantasian, up next. We're going to skip this Saturday. I'm going to take a Saturday off, and then we'll start Neo Fantasian on the next Saturday. So, should be good to go, on that. And then I probably will roll right into Chapter 3 after Neo Fantasian. I can't think of anything else I want to play, unless you guys come up with suggestions, but I think that's how it's going to go for Saturdays. So Estelle Bright's still my favorite character. I love Estelle so much. I would die for her. And she only gets better as this game goes along, and especially in the final scenes. I can't wait to see it all voice acted, and see if I was better at it. But for a JRPG in the time period it came out, the writing is decent. I mean, it's got some cringy stuff, of course, but it's not like so out of date, which was surprising to me. But yeah, I had a good time. I ended up streaming for 6-7 hours. So yeah. It was good. Yeah, so that was all I played, really. I do want to play some more stuff that's not on stream, just so I can give you guys things you don't see me play, so I can give my opinions on them and have a good game of the year list. But we'll see how that goes. I don't know how stressful after the summer my job will be. It's a little stressful now, so it's eating into being anxious about work. Is I just want to sit on the couch and not do anything. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right. Let me just double check something. Hopefully, and again, our thoughts. Glad the Night Duck. Hopefully, everything gets resolved quickly for you. So now we'll move on to the news. First up, PlayStation confirms God of War Laufey release date and return of Kratos in next game. Sony has confirmed God of War Laufey will release on February 16th, 2027, as the series' creative lead confirms Kratos will return in the next installment. Speaking during a panel at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, Sony Santa Monica studio creative Cory Barlog announced that the next God of War will connect directly to Laufey's story and star Kratos. No further details were revealed during the panel. PlayStation 5 entry Laufey is the first mainline God of War title to star a protagonist other than Kratos in Faye, Laufey the Just, Kratos' Norse wife and mother of Atreus, who dies in the events leading up to the 2018 God of War. Speaking during the Comic-Con panel, Barlog said he wanted to create Laufey to expand the world of God of War. I wanted to show an extension of the world where the characters you'll encounter are unexpected. Laufey is a continuation of what came before and to prepare and expand what comes next. God of War Laufey was announced during a state of play with 20 minutes of gameplay. So we knew it was coming in 2027 because they announced that it would be on disc, and we all know that the January 1st, I think 2028 is the deadline for no more disc on PlayStation games. So we kind of knew this was coming. Didn't know exactly if it was going to be Game Awards or something like that, where they would announce this date. But the one thing I did want to, jump on is it's a shame that he felt the need to announce that a God of War game was coming with Kratos, just because of the reaction to Laufey, to be like, all right, you misogynists and haters, your game is coming with your big tough muscle boy. Don't worry about it. But you have to play this game to understand that game, which that was the kind of genius part. But yeah, I am looking forward to Laufey. I think her character is the most intriguing of any of the side characters. Just because we know like how important she is to the story. She is probably the most important character in both games. Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be, I hope this game is as long as the normal games and not some short game, just so, again, we already got a win with the Odyssey this week in terms of, the way it opened with all the incels yelling. I would like this game to not just look like it could have been DLC. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Deborah and Wool's great. So, yeah. But I'm glad that we have a date so that we have something to look forward to. They're not surprised that it's going to be, in the time period it is. It's a good time to have it come out, because you can, if you need to, you can delay it into March and it still be in that fiscal year. So announcing it for February, kind of like where Persona 4 Revival is, and the Resident Evil, I think, is also February. And Final Fantasy, like, it gives you an opportunity if you need to delay it a month or a few weeks to where you stay in the fiscal year. So, all right, next up, Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser says if people want games on disc, companies should provide it. Very much the worst person has a good idea sort of photo there. Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser has given his view on the ongoing debate around physical media. It has now been 3.5 weeks since Sony announced that physical cartridge disc games be discontinued for PlayStation consoles, and the debate continues to see fierce, decision continues to see fierce debate among players, as well as countless pro-disc comments on Sony's media channels. Houser, who co-founded Rockstar Games and then left in early 2020, having written and produced its biggest games, including Grand Theft Auto 3 through 5, Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, Bully, and Max Payne 3, attended San Diego Comic-Con this week to discuss his current company, Absurd Ventures. So basically he was there promoting his thing. But he said during the conversation, I don't care. I don't know that I care, but if people want that, I think companies should provide it. But I don't know that I personally care. I also think that the ability to update games, as critical as people are of digital releases, the ability to update and fix problems in games has been really useful for the quality of games. So it's always, I think I really pulled this just to pull out the idea that I completely understand the business aspect of why everything's going digital. It's not a very high percentage of games, And the people that do physical media are probably, you're not going to lose them as gamers. You might lose a few because they can't download the games because of internet issues or whatever. But you have to calculate that into a decision like this, and I hope that Sony did do that. But yeah, I don't know why you can't just... And again, I don't know how it works. So my thought is, why not when people buy the game, even if you got to do like a delay thing, like kind of what happens with 8-bit, or whatever that's called, I am 8-bit, the ones that do all the retro games and put them out physically, or the downloadable games and put them out physically. If you do something like that, I think people will buy it. If you make it special or limited edition for physical, that you could run into piracy issues if you limit it. But, if you give them the opportunity, hey, 6 months after the game comes out, hey, if you want this physical, here you go, and then you order it, and then, you just do it that way. But again, I don't know the business models or anything like that, so I don't know if that's even feasible. But it's good to see that there are people in the industry, like Dan Hauser, and there's probably others that are just going, hey, if they want it, just give it to them. Like, we've been doing this for years. If we want to save costs, maybe do it on 2-disc or whatever. It's one of those things where if you would have to know what the cost is to do it to see if it's even worth it. If it's saving a few pennies, then that's just ridiculous. But, yeah, this debate's not going to go down, and Sony's not going to change their mind. I think I read something that like only 15% or 20%, some very small percentage buy physical only. So I think they are okay with losing a portion of those people. Yeah. Yes, that is the business reason. I didn't even think of that, but that is exactly another aspect of the business reason. This is why I love having Night Duck in the chat. He can give me insight or into things that I didn't even think about. But I'll just read what he says for the audio listeners. The reason for that, meaning what I was talking about with physical media, is that a disc of Spider-Man for PS4 costs $10. Or used disc like at a GameStop or your local store. But the remaster is $40 digitally and goes on sale for $20. So yeah, that the used game, the secondary market, gets killed by not having physical games. It's all of those things where if they had a physical games, like if they could make money and not that I'm going to say for the independent stores that have video games used, obviously they're going to get killed by this, and because I couldn't give two shits if GameStop goes out of business because of this. It's a terrible fucking company. But yeah, it's such a weird thing. It's just that you're losing that revenue there, and I guess that adds up. Again, I don't see their books or know, but sometimes it's the joke we make on this channel, with the think about the shareholders. Mark, you have to think of the shareholders. Yeah, mom and pop game stores. He's probably I know the stream's a couple seconds behind, but Tom says he's more worried about the mom and pop game stores. So am I. Those are the ones that they'll be hurt the most by this. So, it's the GameStops of the world. They say it's not going to affect them because, I wonder how much a percentage of their sales is just all the other stuff they have. It's where they could be fine with just selling old games and not need new ones. Yeah. We're all in the same boat about GameStop there. But yeah, this is... It's going to be... The interesting one's going to be Nintendo. I think Nintendo has sort of the right idea for this, and I don't know how long they'll stay on it. and I don't even know if it's a good idea. I just think it's a decent compromise. Is by selling the digital games for less than the physical games, so that people want the physical games, they can go pay an extra $10 to get a physical. They want the digital, they can pay, sort of offset the cost of making the physical game by making them a little more expensive. Is that a good solution? Probably not good for the consumer in that sense, but it's better than just saying no more physical. So I think that is the way forward. I don't think you can convince Sony of that, but I think for the other two, that is a good way forward. It keeps physical games in the market for the mom and pops to be able to sell used games, and it also gets them a little more revenue up front for it. So, yeah. Moving on. And this is the real thing that I think Microsoft is going their direction. I think we have 3 companies doing 3 different things. I don't know which is going to win out. I hope it's the Nintendo model, but we'll read about Microsoft's here. Xbox has started testing the option to stream games for free with ads at the start. Xbox has started testing the ability to stream games for free with ads. At this moment, players are only able to stream Xbox games through the cloud gaming if they have an Xbox Game Pass subscription. The higher the Game Pass subscription tier they have, the shorter the wait time to connect and the higher quality of the stream. Now, as reported on Xbox Wire blog, Xbox insiders are able to test an ad-supported way to stream games they own for a limited time. According to Xbox, ads will play before sessions start, but not during gameplay to ensure the core game experience is unchanged. Sessions will be limited to 1 hour in length. It also stresses that the method is optional and players can choose other ways to play their games, such as paid cloud streaming through Game Pass or downloading and playing games locally at any time. Xbox says it will stand by the following 5 rules when using ad-supported services on Xbox. We start with the player. Ads should create value. We do not interrupt the flow of gameplay. We hold ads to the same quality bar as our content. We're clear about what's advertising. We made sure ads fit what players expect on each platform. Advertising has existed in gaming for decades, from in-game placements to free-to-play models, Xbox said on its official blog, but it hasn't always been built with the player in mind. When done well, advertising can help lower the cost of access. It creates another way for players to get into games without an upfront streaming purchase and expands audiences through new ways to play. It added, "We will learn from this test and continue to improve it based on how players use it and what they tell us. Our goal is simple: give more people more affordable ways to play." So yeah, if I got this correctly, and Metamolition Night Duck, feel free to jump in if I'm sort of reading this wrong or you've seen other things. Sony is going with no physical. Just going to be downloads, no matter what, no physical. I believe Nintendo is going with cheaper digital, more expensive physical copies. Xbox, they seem to be pushing towards cloud streaming, basically like any other app on your smart TV. Your game can connect via Bluetooth to your TV, and you can play a game. This hour limit thing, I'm kind of confused on. I don't know if they're gonna, if you're streaming a game, it can only be for an hour. Even if you own it, I would need to find out more about that policy, but I think they're going to try and go towards this streaming model, so that the poors can keep playing video games, while it gets only the rich can play it in full quality without ads. Again, of the 3 models out there, because I can guarantee you, as much as we would love it to stay the way it is, it's not going to stay the way it is. These companies are going to need to look for, revenue models somewhere, even though they've made profits and all that, but the shareholders want more. So they're going to find ways to do it. And I'm hoping if one of these 3 models has to be the one to win, I would like it to be Nintendo's model. Even as somebody that loves physical games, from Nintendo, especially the little tiny cartridges, they're so cute. I wouldn't mind spending an extra $10 for a physical copy of a game. You know, if that's the way it's got to go. If you're giving me a choice of those three with no other choices, no option D, yeah, I'm going for what Nintendo seems to be doing. So, because again, we reiterate from earlier, that keeps the secondary market open if you have a physical thing in hand. But yeah, they're trying to cut out where they don't get money, which is obvious for any venture capitalists, stocks, shareholder room things. So hopefully the less obnoxious of the three will win out. All right, moving on. Amazon Prime Video app is getting Luna game streaming, making it easier to find. Which, yes, it's been really hard to find Luna games, so glad they finally figured this out. Because you get a lot of Luna downloads on Twitch if you're a Prime member for free games, and it's very hard to, kind of figure out where to get those games. Amazon has announced that its Luna gaming stream is now being integrated into Prime Video app. Starting today, the update is being rolled out on Prime Video on Fire TV devices in the US and UK, with plans to add it to other devices and countries in the coming months. The new integration means that Amazon Prime members can find games in the same Prime Video app they use to watch movies, TV, and sports, instead of having to download a separate Luna app. The update adds new games to the app, and when players choose a game, it starts streaming and allows them to play with a controller or their phone. Jeff Gaddis, GM of gaming at Amazon, said the decision to add Luna to the Prime Video app should make it easier for Prime subscribers to find the game streaming service, which they may not even realize they have access to via their subscription. For a lot of people, games have been harder to find than they should be. Gaddis said in a statement, bringing Luna inside Prime Video allows Prime members to discover games more naturally, and if they see one they like, they click it and they're in. That's less time searching and more time playing great games included with their Prime membership. Luna's standard offering is included as part of a Prime subscription, offers a rotating library of games, which can be streamed via their device. Current titles include Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Death Stranding Director's Cut, Dispatch, Alan Wake 2, Fortnite, Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. It also includes Game Night, a selection of multiplayer family games designed to be played with phones, including Jackbox Party Pack 8, The Game of Life 2, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and Tetris Effect Connected and Cluedo. Yeah, so probably a very smart decision here from Amazon. You know, it's always, I've learned explaining to people that you need separate apps for separate things. This has especially come up with how sports have been coming more onto apps than regular TV, is trying to explain to, older millennials and Gen Xers and boomers especially, how to download separate apps and all that stuff and how to get them. So if you can integrate the things that people already use, it's just going to make it easy. And it's another one of those things like Amazon Music and all that stuff that you're already paying for it. If you get Prime for the shipping, might as well take advantage of it and see if there's a game that you like in there to play. I would highly recommend, Dispatch if you're someone out there looking for a game to check out for free on the service. So, all right, moving on. 007 First Lights first content update is available now. IO Interactive's James Bond game 007 First Light just received its first content update in patch 1.10, or 1.1.0. The update is available to download now, giving existing players instant access to new tax sim missions and content. It includes 2 new escalation missions, 3 new weapons, and a new outfit. In addition, IO Interactive states that the patch includes several fixes and improvements thanks to your feedback. In the full patch notes, it is stated that it includes fixes and improvements for over 200 issues reported by the community and internal play testers. The patch is sizable, 24 gigabytes on PlayStation 5, while PC and Xbox versions only require a small update under 4 gigabytes. The Workshop and Extraction Avenues are the names of the two new 3-tier escalation missions. You'll also be able to use the new Stormberg 50 cal handgun, the DRX-2 machine pistol, and the DRS-7 silenced SMG. Yeah. So I'm glad to see they're still adding on to this game. This was one of my probably top 5 games for sure. Is the best way to put it. I haven't sat down and decided how to rank my games yet. I probably should start doing that as we're getting to the brunt of games coming out. I had forgotten that I'd seen a movie when we were doing this with movies on TC Tam. I completely forgotten how much I loved Project Hail Mary when I was saying what was my number 1 and 2 movies for the Patreon episode. So I need to sit down with the games and sort of get the list together so that I don't make any mistakes. And yeah, for the audio listeners, I'm going to answer Goat here. Yeah, that obviously not you, Goat. You are the Gen Xer level that would understand this stuff. I'm talking more about my sister, her husband, my cousins that are in their 50s. They just don't have any sort of way of figuring out if they even want to play games on Luna, how to do it. So, yeah, it's just sort of, it's easier if if they're already using Prime Video to just say, hey, it's in the Prime Video, to go ahead and do that. Yeah, so moving on from great 007 DLC news to something else. Xbox backward compatibility launches on PC for Xbox games playable now. Classic Xbox games are now playable on Windows PC thanks to Xbox backwards compatibility on PC, which launches today in an early release state. The rollout of the feature has started today, with 4 games for the original Xbox now available to play, and also on the ROG Ally, Xbox Ally. 4 games available to play, announced on Xbox Wire. Blinks the Time Sweeper, yes. Conquer, Live and Reload It. Crimson Skies, High Road to Revenge, and Fusion Frenzy. I guess those are all first-party games from what I remember, so not a surprise. Players can currently purchase any of these games on PC, with more games are planned to be added in the future. The titles are also included on all Xbox game tiers. Well, that's good. New features have also been added to titles, including 4x resolution scaling, VSync support, texture filtering, anti-aliasing, and more. Xbox has confirmed that achievements will be added in the future. Original Xbox games never had achievements, but Xbox plans to add them to both the console and PC versions in coming months. Yeah. So for the video listeners, I've paused on the specs. Ooh, let me scroll that back up so you guys can see that. Yeah, that's pretty cool that they're doing this. Yeah, Crimson Skies on there. Is High Road to Revenge like a sequel? Or is that the subtitle for the original game? I don't remember. While I know that game was important to Xbox, I never actually played it. So maybe that's not first party. I just assumed that if they were going to roll out 4 games right away, it was going to be all first party stuff. Especially because I'm pretty sure, I know Fusion Frenzy is, but maybe I'm wrong about that. It'd be weird that there's some third party in there. But yeah. Yeah, so if you have any interest in these 4 games, you can go and play them right now. Next up, LEGO officially reveals Donkey Kong arcade set in a trailer starring the King of Kong, Steve Wiebe. Nintendo has officially revealed its Donkey Kong arcade set, as leaked earlier this month and as reported on the Game Ball Pod News Hour. The set is based on the original Donkey Kong arcade game and shows the first level surrounded by a marquee similar to that of the on the cabinet. Jesus, coin op cabinet. Whew. That was a tough sentence for me for some reason. Now that it's been officially announced, more details on the set are known, including its interactive features. The set contains 1,371 pieces and is available for pre-order now for $199. Players can load the set up with 21 barrels and can pull a lever and release the barrels one at a time as if Donkey Kong had thrown one. The barrel will then roll towards Jumpman, and players can use a joystick and buttons to make him jump over the barrel. Oh, that's pretty cool. The set is the latest edition of Super Mario branded Lego sets. So see the video right there on Nintendo's looks like Twitter account there, but you can probably find it on other social medias. So that's pretty cool. It's good to know that it does have the interactives, like we had theorized on the News Hour, where you can actually play a little bit of Donkey Kong. There. So if you have $200 laying around and love Donkey Kong, this is coming out. You can pre-order it. It'll be shipped on August 1st and then probably live on the store after that. Next up, Xbox lists its next 7 Game Pass titles, including Halo Campaign Evolved and Beast of Reincarnation. Xbox announced the next 7 titles coming to Game Pass on console and PC and cloud streaming. The 7 games include Halo Combat Evolved. It's joined by Beast of Reincarnation. And I'll just read the list here. It'll be easier than trying to read their thing. So here are the games coming in July and August. Shift at Midnight on July 22nd. Hell Is Us on July 23rd. Halo Combat Evolved on July 28th. Mistfall Hunter on July 30th. Corsair Cove on July 31st. Heretic and Hexen on August 4th. Beast of Reincarnation on August 4th. And for those of you worried about games leaving Xbox Game Pass, Back to the Dawn, Celeste, Crusader Kings 3, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, My Friendly Neighborhood, Rain World, Sniper Elite Resistance, and Whiskerwood. So if you have any interest in playing those games before they go, you have until the end of the week, essentially, to do that. Next up, finally, this is more of a sort of video game real-life thing intermixing. EA Sports FC has correctly predicted the 5th FIFA World Cup winner for the 5th year in a row. EA has continued its lengthy streak of correctly predicting who will win the FIFA Men's World Cup. The publisher may no longer have the official FIFA license, but last month it continued its tradition of predicting who would win the tournament. As in previous years, EA ran simulations of every match in the group stages, followed by simulations of the knockout rounds generated by these predictions. A few days before the opening match started last month, EA posted an image on the official EA Sports FC account declaring that Spain would win the trophy for the second time in its history. Sure enough, on Sunday night, or last Sunday, Spain defeated Argentina 1-0 and made that prediction come true. I think it goes all the way back to Spain, the first time Spain played, won it. So this is pretty cool. It's they get a lot of the other ones wrong in a lot of the sports, but it's kind of scary that they've gotten 5 straight World Cup ones correctly. You would have made a lot of money if you bet along with EA. So that just means the 6th one will lose because everybody will start betting on it. But fun thing here. The end of the podcast on. Thank you all for joining me. Hope you have a good rest of your week here. Hopefully, everything is good and not awful for Night Duck. He said he had that issue at his home, so we're all thinking of him and wishing him the best. But for the rest of you, hopefully you have a good rest of the end of July here, end of my birthday month. So we will be sad to see it go. Tonight, tentatively scheduled is Killer Instinct, part of my thing. I might text Tom after this to see if maybe he wants to do his backlog buster tonight. So stay tuned for that, because I may have something that'll make me a little late. So maybe just have him do it so I don't need the rush. Yeah, so that'll be something. Will be tonight, one of two games, and then we'll be back on Friday with Final Fantasy X, and then Saturday we'll be off. So get caught up hanging out with your friends instead of hanging out with me. And then Sunday we're back here for the news hour. But yeah, it's gonna be like sort of slow through August, and then once I gotta figure out which game coming out I'm going to play for y'all. Of the bunch that I'm going to pick up. So, be on the lookout for that. I'm going to need to make that decision in the next couple of weeks. Maybe I'll throw a poll up on the Patreon to get a little guidance from them. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. The poll for was what's your favorite Bethesda Game Studios since they took over with Fallout 3. And Fallout 4 received the most amount of votes, with Fallout New Vegas coming in second. So be sure to look out for, I'm going to post another poll there on Monday. Probably maybe Tuesday. Let the podcast get out there so you guys know to go look for it. In the meantime, make sure you do, if you haven't already, sign up for the Patreon for They Called This a Movie. That's the movie podcast we do as well. But the Discord is crazy in there. And it's well worth the $1. So if you go to patreon.com/TCTAMpod, and just for $1, you get in all the Discord shenanigans, which is great. We have music, movies, TV, wrestling, sports sometimes pops up in general. We have video games, we have art, we have books. It's pretty crazy in there, and a lot of fun. Be sure to, just for $1, you can join in there. You also get to vote for, video game stuff. You get to vote for our movies in a month that we do there. And you also get exclusive Patreon episodes for They Called This a Movie. Yeah, be sure to check that all out. So for Metal Militia, Goat, Night Duck. Yes, speaking of sports, LeBron James. For those of you that didn't join me Monday, or Friday, I toasted champagne to the signing of LeBron James with the Philadelphia 76ers, and drank an entire small bottle of champagne before joining that odyssey of a video game night for me. So, yeah, it's been a crazy weekend. So, thank you all for joining me, and we will see you tonight. Bye!